in a strong belief in the metaphors of nature. And I've heard critics try to dismiss her. She's too simplistic. But if you look at her poetry, yes, it's simple in structure, but it's deep in its meaning. And I tend to sort of gravitate to poems like that. I'm not real subtexty. My writing is very direct. So I'm going to start with Mary Oliver. How I go to the woods. Ordinarily, I go to the woods alone. Not a single friend. For they are all smilers and talkers and therefore unsuitable. I didn't really want to be witnessed talking to the catbirds or hugging the old black oak tree. I have my own way of praying, as you no doubt have yours. Besides, when I'm alone, I can become invisible. I sit on the top of a dune, as motionless as an uprise of weeds, until the foxes run by unconcerned. I can hear the almost unhearable sound of the roses singing. If you have ever gone to the woods with me, I must love you very much. Miracles of Life. This is my poem. Kind of somewhat inspired by that one, but also by my many walks through the botanical gardens. A perfect day to be lazy, if lazy means doing nothing. I admired the patience of flowers, budging slowly through the soil, then twisting into the warmth of the sun. I watched the hummingbird vibrate in a strange flight pattern that no other creature could possibly approximate. I saw an old man, he barely moved, yet his face beamed with the bliss of discovering the secrets of the forest. A honeybee lingered inside a tall orange wildflower, their colors magically mingling. A whirling pinwheel of splendid shades, emerald greens, deep purples, iridescent golds, a chance to grasp miracles of life. Today, I did absolutely nothing. If you consider witnessing the delicacy of God's work a waste of time. Very nice. This is kind of personal to me. It's the first Mary Oliver poem I ever read. And I have to confess, I had never heard of Mary Oliver until I read an article by Maria Shriver, who I very much admire, and she admired Mary Oliver. I said, Maria, if Maria Shriver likes her, she must be pretty good. I know that's a kind of a backdoor way to get into something. But anyway, I read The Journey, very much loved it, and you'll see I somewhat related to it. Mary Oliver's poem, The Journey. One day you finally knew what you had to do and began, though the voices around you kept shouting their bad advice through the whole house, though the whole house began to tremble and you felt the old tug at your ankles. Mend my life, each voice cried, but you didn't stop. You knew what you had to do, though the wind pried with its stiff fingers at the very foundations, though their melancholy was terrible. It was already late enough, and a wild night, and the road full of fallen branches and stones, but little by little, as you left their voices behind, the stars began to burn through the sheets of clouds, and there was a voice, which you slowly recognized as your own, that kept you company as you strode deeper and deeper into the world, determined to do the only thing you could do, determined to save the only life you could save. My poem, outed at a family gathering. In a beautiful Chicago high-rise after a gracious family dinner, the judge and executioner, who calls herself my godmother, met me with dagger eyes, her words of sin and guilt. I could have carried the guilt like wounded prey and cowered in my choices. Instead, I slept like a baby on the train ride home, comfortable in the knowledge I am a child of God, is free to love and be loved as she is. In the vast content of my life, who I love is my least interesting characteristic. And I'm going to do 2 more in this set, if that's okay. Mystery. I was just thinking about how, as a journalist, and in my former life, I was a reporter and feature writer and everything, how accuracy and details and facts are so important, and how as a poet, you discover the world in a more mysterious way. The trained journalist in me craves detailed documentation, answers that are blindingly, impeccably precise. The poet in me is awakened by mystery, the shadows of trees, the trajectory of stars. Logic may steady my course, but each time I veer from the path, mystery sweetens my life, stokes my spontaneity, reminds me of my longings, never wrecks my soul with suffocating limitations. Mystery keeps changing my itinerary, keeps me in glorious, unpredictable flight. And I guess it's the journalist in me that loves narrative, telling a good story. And one of my cats, people who know me know I love cats, though I'm not a crazy cat lady, but this cat was, she was the neurotic, but kind of lovable, and the male cat, the alpha in the house, couldn't stand her, and he was always torturing her. And it's kind of their end story. One cat kissing another cat. One cat kissing another dead cat's head. A spectacularly small moment, yet somehow unforgettable. Their history was not pleasant. He, the intimidating alpha bully, would poke his large paw through her canvas kitty tent, taking hard swipes at her, till she could no longer stand the torment, until she finally emitted shrieks, growls, and hisses. She was always a candidate for Xanax, a neurotic drama queen. Her loyalty, though, was undeniable. She camped out with me when I watched Lifetime movies, drew close when she needed to feel my breaths against hers. The day she drew her last breath, the master of the house unexpectedly arrived to pay me one last visit. Her first and only cat pallbearer, her former tormentor finally acknowledging she was a cherished family member, a member of the feline tribe. He respectfully bowed his head, planted a gentle lick on her still warm head. Such a small gesture of respect, still it brought smiles to our quivering lips.
Aww, very nice.